What's up, everybody? This is NatJamMedia on the NatJamMedia show, and you might notice that we're into a different format again. Just because when we did the first episode, after we recorded the first episode, I realized you can't have a talk show with two people up close. So we decided to move it back a little bit so y'all guys get a better view.
Yeah, we've adjusted the camera, so just a little different angle here. So we're trying some new things here in the studio.
Which is an office.
Office/studio.
So
this is episode 2
and
of the NatJamMedia show.
And as everybody knows, the new Bond 24 is coming out, next year?
I don't think next year, probably in a couple of years.
2016 or 2015. But the thing is, will Bond 24 be as classic as the original? Because the 3 Daniel Craig movies, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall, are not what you would call the typical they do have some cool scenes and action scenes and stuff. But they're not what you call your typical Bond movie, not your classic Bond movie.
Right, and Nat, Nat wanted me to talk a little about the James Bond franchise tonight and my opinions on the Daniel Craig movies, which I'm happy to do. So basically,
he's also wearing a top hat and sunglasses.
I am.
It's going to be different every episode.
You never know what Jam's going to do.
To the show?
Wait till we get closer to Halloween. All kind of weird things are going to happen.
Okay, back to the show.
So back to the show. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Craig's portrayal of James Bond. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he makes a great James Bond. I enjoy the movies. However, the 3 movies that he's made so far have not been traditional James Bond movies.
But if you go by action in a Bond movie, then they're probably one of the more action.
Oh, there's a lot of action in them. They're great action movies. They're very well done movies, but they're not necessarily traditional James Bond movies. And what do I mean by that?
Basically, they're not classics that you could just kind of watch, like the Sean Connery movies or the Roger Moore movies. They're just not those Bond movies that are so memorable in a way that you'll almost always like it.
Well, basically, my theory, the original, and there are some exceptions to this. A couple of the movies were a little different, but for the most part, when you look at the 20 original James Bond movies. In the original continuity, there was a formula. The movie would start
with a gun barrel instead of having it at the end.
The movie would start, and you would see James Bond finishing up some mission.
Or sometimes there would be no Bond in it. Like with Let Down the Golden Gun.
But I'm talking about the traditional formula. There's been a couple of differences in it, but I thought the traditional formula in most of the movies is the opening scene, you see Bond finishing up a mission.
That has nothing to do with the story at all. It's just something fun that you can just watch to enjoy the opening of the movie.
And then you go to the opening credits. And you hear the theme song.
Which they all have songs.
Correct. And then after the opening credits, you usually get introduced into the main villain for this particular movie, and you find out something about the plan for world domination or whatever it is,
or just a crime, crime.
And then you get Bond summoned back to headquarters to go see M to get his assignment. And so you spend a few minutes in M's office getting the assignment, and then Bond goes out to the outer office and he talks with Miss Moneypenny for a few minutes.
And Q.
And then he goes to see Q and he gets his new toys for the mission.
And then he finally goes to his destination.
Right, and he spends the rest of the movie chasing after the bad guy. And at the end of the movie, Bond kills the bad guy, and he winds up in the arms of some good-looking girl. And then you have the ending credits.
And then,
End of the James Bond movie. James Bond will return, next movie.
Now, let me get something out of the way. Is that in some of the Bond movies, Bond stays at a place for a little bit of the movie. He stays at somewhere, like in Dr. No, the area for like Spectre. He stays there for a few, like about 30 minutes of the movie. From Russia with Love in Istanbul, and just basically a lot of the times in a few of the Bond films, Bond will stay at some place. He sneaks around and just more likely for a long period of time of the movie.
So, that's the traditional sort of Bond formula.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's been a few little, couple of movies that played around that a little bit. Like Nat said, the beginning of Live and Let Die is a little different.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Man with the Golden Gun is a little different.
But it's really cool.
But most of the mainstream Bond movies have been kind of follow that formula.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to the Daniel Craig movies, and that formula is just totally gone.
I know. At least in Casino Royale, we did kind of get a gun barrel at the beginning, but not the very, very beginning.
Right.
At the end. And I guess that's okay because some people say that was Bond becoming Bond or something like that because it takes place before everything else or something like that. It's a prequel or something.
And of course, in the Daniel Craig movies, you don't have him being summoned to M's office because the portrayal of M in the Daniel Craig movies has been a little different, even though it's the same actress. The portrayal of M has been different because the traditional M, like in the Sean Connery movies and in the Roger Moore movies,
and Timothy Dalton.
M's just sitting in the office.
Yeah.
He gives Bond the assignment, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
and sometimes he would go back to the office like a few times in the movie at some of them and meet with him again. Sometimes M's standing up, but that's okay because there's usually meetings.
But M's usually only in the movie for 3 or 4 minutes. Total combined screen time.
Yeah.
But then but starting with the Pierce Brosnan movies, you have Judi Dench as M, and Judi Dench is a great actress, and she did great portraying M. I thought she was a great M. But starting with the Pierce Brosnan movies, and this is especially true with the Daniel Craig movies, you see a lot more M in the movies. Her character becomes a lot more involved in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because, the directors are hired to do these James Bond movies, and they have this great actress, Judi Dench, who's this, award-winning actress who I think these directors just really want to work with. And so they have a tendency to give her more scenes, and the writers write her part a little bigger. And so she's on screen a lot more.
Yep.
Which I guess is fine, but it interferes with the traditional Bond formula.
It defeats the purpose of all those movies before. Now that she's always everywhere now. Well, yeah, also the gender changed, so of M. So that's why I said she instead of he.
Right, but
the gender changed.
The thing is, the 3 Daniel Craig movies. I mean, half of the movie, it's Daniel Craig is he's in trouble with MI6. He's being accused of this, being accused of that. They're not sure if he's loyal or not. He's always being tested or doing this, doing that.
And he gets hurt a lot more.
Yeah, he gets hurt all the time. He's always in the hospital. He never saw Sean Connery or Roger Moore in the hospital. But, Daniel Craig's always...
never saw Timothy Dalton either.
But, Daniel Craig's always recuperating somewhere, all packed, bandaged up, and so he you know, so the just the overall portrayal, the movies have a different tone.
Mhm.
However,
hopefully, but Bond 24 might be
but I think Bond 24 may be the first Daniel Craig movie that follows the traditional formula.
might be the thing that saves the series forever.
And well, the series isn't in danger of being. The series isn't in danger of going away, but
I know, but I mean of classicness.
For the classic theme, yeah, because at the end in Skyfall, some things were introduced.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler if you haven't seen Skyfall. We finally have a Miss Moneypenny again now. We have a new M, because Judi Dench's character was killed off in Skyfall.
The very end.
So we have a new M who's going to sit in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of Skyfall, you see Daniel Craig going into M's office, and it's the old traditional office with the leather door, like you see all the time. So M's going to sit in the office in the future and just give the orders. Say, James Bond, here's your assignment. Go off and do your thing.
Now there's another problem with the Daniel Craig movies is the MI6 of Quantum of Solace. It's all like modern. If you ever watched Quantum of Solace, like all the walls are white. There's just there's just so much technology.
Well, it's like a computer lab almost.
Yeah. But I mean, what happened to oh my gosh, how could they change MI6 so much from one movie to another? It takes.
Well, but MI6 has evolved. We're in modern times now, and it's not the Cold War anymore. It's not that era. So, I mean, there is going to be some updating. There is going to be some modernizing. That's fine. But it's the tone, the overall kind of tone and themes of the movies, and just the basic formula that I kind of miss. So we have a new M. We have a Miss Moneypenny finally, and we have a Q.
Mm-hmm.
So so the next Daniel Craig movie, I'm hoping, should be a much more traditional formula James Bond movie.
And should have a gun barrel at the beginning.
Where hopefully James Bond is the center of the movie. Where he's chasing after the bad guy instead of
M always going
instead of M running in Skyfall. M was running around. I mean, she's 85 years old. She's running around with a gun shooting people. I mean, that's just M doesn't do that. That's not what M does. So
and hopefully the gun barrel will be at the beginning of the movie.
A more traditional opening with a traditional gun barrel opening.
And I hope they get a brand new gun. I hope they get the Brosnan looking gun barrels again, because those are pretty cool looking.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the CGI on those. Those are so good.
Yeah, Nat likes to study the opening credits and the opening gun barrel sequences.
They're really cool. They're all really cool.
Anyway, that's my thought. I think Daniel Craig's a terrific Bond. I like the movies, but I am looking forward to a more traditional.
And what place is he on your list?
I mean, my favorite two Bonds are, of course, Sean Connery and Roger Moore. So Daniel Craig's probably going to be at number 3. Then Pierce Brosnan, then George Lazenby, and that leaves Timothy Dalton last. Sorry, Tim. But yeah, there we go. So that was just, just my thoughts on little James Bond talk tonight for episode 2 of the NatJamMedia show. We're going to keep these fairly short, no more than about 10, 15 minutes, and we're probably getting close to that right now.
Yeah. So if you see me looking off right here, I'm looking at the computer. Just so you guys know, if I'm looking like this.
Yeah, that's at the control panel.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the computer. Yeah.
But
so guys, so stay tuned for episode 3. For y'all guys.
We don't know yet what we're talking about. We'll come up with something.
Yep. So, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
NatJamMedia show.